Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
Of the reinforcement. I hope you have gone through the videos of the previous skulls. So for now, we have gone through the set induction. We have gone through explaining. We have gone through stimulus variation. We have gone through probing questions, and this is another skull, that is the reinforcement. All of you might be knowing what the reinforcement is. We are having the reinforcement of two types. One is the positive reinforcement, another is the negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement may be the pleasant experiences on part of the student, and the negative reinforcement is unpleasant experiences on part of the student. Positive pleasant experiences, these strengthen the behavior of the student, we can say the learning of the student, while as the negative behavior can weaken the behavior of the student or the learning of the student. So as a teacher, we have to give the positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement as the situation demands. So the skill of reinforcement, it's an art that we have to learn how judiciously and how effectively we have to use the reinforcement. So the point is that why should we reinforce the students, or what's the need to reinforce the students? First thing is that we need to reinforce the students to grab their attention or to increase students' attention. Second is for the motivation we have to use. Third is to control and also to modify the disruptive behavior. Some disruptive behaviors are being produced by our students in our classroom while we are teaching. So to control those disruptive behaviors or to modify those disruptive behaviors, we use this reinforcement for them. And lastly, we should be knowing the right time to give the reinforcement to the students. So we can see the effective time when we have to give the reinforcement to the students. So this is the cycle in which we learn how effectively we use the reinforcement so that the student's behavior is meant in a desirable direction or towards the maximum learning or better results. How many components are there in this skull, and which component is there in this? The first component is use of the verbal positive reinforcers. Second is use of the positive non-verbal reinforcers, use of extra-verbal reinforcers, use of negative verbal reinforcers, use of negative non-verbal reinforcers, wrong use of reinforcers. So the first three, use of positive reinforcers, positive non-verbal reinforcers, and extra-verbal reinforcers. These are the desirable behavior, and use of negative reinforcers, the negative non-verbal and verbal wrong use of reinforcers, these are undesirable behaviors. So let's discuss them one by one. Use of positive verbal reinforcers. We are having the verbal behaviors that will increase the learning of our students. Like we are praising the students by some words, good, excellent, very nice, or we are repeating words of the students, what the student has said. That's also encouraging the students to take part in the teaching learning. Or we use some statements, or we accept the feelings of the students. This is the positive verbal reinforcers. And then we are having the positive non-verbal reinforcers. These are the reinforcers without words. We don't use any word in this. What we use then? We use gestures. Teacher nods, the teacher writes the responses of the students on the board. That's also the non-verbal reinforcement that will increase the learners to take part in the learning. Third one is use of extra verbal reinforcers. It's in the midway between the positive verbal reinforcers and the positive non-verbal reinforcers. We use some words and also some non-verbal gestures. So then the fourth is use of negative verbal reinforcers. These are the negative words These are the discouraging words or discouraging statements which we give to the students. Like we say, no, wrong answer. We say, I don't like your answer. These are the negative verbal reinforcers. And the negative non-verbal reinforcers, gestures. And lastly, we are having the wrong use of the reinforcer, or we reinforce the student when there is no need to reinforce them. We are not reinforcing the students when they need the reinforcement. Third wrong use of reinforcement is we are giving less amount of reinforcement when they are in need of more. Fourth is we are giving excess reinforcement when they need the less amount. Fifth is we are reinforcing only few students who are responding to our questions. So this is the wrong use of the reinforcement. First is that when we use the reinforcement when there is no need of usage of the reinforcement. Second is when we don't use the reinforcement but there was the need to use the reinforcement. Third is we use less amount of reinforcement when they needed the more. Fourth is we use more amount of reinforcement when they needed the less. And lastly is we only encourage a few students in our class, and then this is the model lesson plan. Then after we are having the observations tool for this lesson in Skull. So the first is the components which we have used. There are the 6 components in this. The 3 are the desirable and the 3 are the undesirable. And the tally marks will show that how many times the component has been used and then the rating scale. And how we calculate the final rating is the total number of the tally marks and the number of the components. So this is all about the skill of reinforcement.
If you like this video, don't forget to give the thumbs up to this video. Share this video with other students so that the student community get benefited from this video. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get the new notifications of our videos. Thank you very much. God bless you.